Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Amused Jester. My name is Junior, and today, welcome to the first ever episode of Toy Talk. Toy Talk is basically where I just ramble on things about toys in general and what I wanted to talk about. First off, I refer to these as toys. That's just the way I grew up on. Some people might call it collectibles, high-end collectibles. Some people might call it action figures. Some people might call it dolls. For me, in my mind, they're just toys. So I will refer to them as toys. Very monosyllabic, very easy to digest. It just is our toys to me. All right. So um, we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about pricing, value, comparisons, and how do you get the most bang out of your money. And what you're seeing right now, as I talk about this particular discussion, is Star Wars, and more specifically, the figure of Darth Vader in Star Wars. Why am I choosing Darth Vader? Darth Vader holds a special distinction in my collection. Well, let's say the Star Wars holds a very distinct place in my collection in that they're the only one in my entire collection that's represented by 1/18 scale. I'm not sure if you guys can see that one over there. Very small 1/18 scale Darth Vader, a 1/12 scale Darth Vader, a 1/16 scale Darth Vader. And you might be thinking, well, that's just a helmet. Well, let me insert a photo of my life-size Darth Vader, which I built recently. And I'll put it up for like 5 seconds. All right, so I apologize. That had to be an insert picture because I can't shoot this in front of it. It's in a different spot of my collection. So this helmet right now is going to represent that life-size Darth Vader. And it is life-size. He's 6'9" tall. Even though Dave Prowse was, I believe, 6'4" or 6'6", with the added helmet on top of him, I imagine Darth Vader should be around 6'9". Anyway, so Star Wars is the only collection that Star Wars is the only intellectual property toy in my collection that's represented in every scale that I have in my collection. And from all of that, from all of Star Wars, Darth Vader is the only one that's represented in each scale. So I have Darth Vader in here as we discuss the pricing. The pricing. I will discuss the original price for a 3.75, which is around $17 right now. The Black Series is $24 right now. Now the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Darth Vader, I purchased that I believe at around 225, but the usual Hot Toys Darth Vader right now is running at around 390. And the Black Series helmet, well, the Black Series helmet, I should say the 1-to-1 scale Darth Vader that I built is running at around 1100 or around 1100 because the Jazzwares I got at a discount of 700 instead of the 1000 right now. The mannequin inside Darth Vader is 300, and then oh yeah, so the lightsaber was also, I believe, 150. So it's actually 1200 for the life size Darth Vader because that's the Black Series lightsaber that I have. All right. So give me a moment. So that's the retail price of each figure. That basically means that if you were to compare a 1-to-1 Darth Vader, which costs around 1200, you can get 5 of the 1/6 scale Hot Toys figures, or you can get 50 of the Black Series instead of one life size, or you can get 70 of the 1/18 Darth Vader instead of one life size. Does that make sense? Because basically you're dividing 1200 by 17, 1200 by 24, 1200 by 220. That's how I got those figures. Why am I talking about that? I mean, like, who would want 70 118 scale Darth Vaders? Well, you don't, right? The reason why I'm talking about that is because now you're talking about um, world building. As you can see here, I have a bunch of Star Wars 3.75 that built them. So when I'm talking about 70 Darth Vaders, I'm actually talking about 70 stormtroopers along those lines. This is when you're building worlds. Or when I'm talking about 50 Black Series, I'm talking about 50 Black Series stormtroopers over there. Or when I'm talking about 5's Hot Toys, I'm talking about 5 Hot Toys over there. So you kind of caught a glimpse of that small area of collection of Star Wars. And that small area is basically where that houses. That's the area that houses all my Star Wars. Well, not including, oops, the ceiling. That's the whole entirety of my Star Wars. Only my Star Wars. I have these ones over here and the ones behind me and everything. But we're talking about Star Wars, right? But wait, there's more. Now let's talk about getting the bang for your buck, getting the most bang for your buck. Your money is important, your collection is important, but you want to get the most out of the money, right? Especially now in our economy. So let me tell you really quickly, I've been collecting for 40 years. I've been collecting mostly 112 scale. So my Star Wars was in the 112 scale. There were times when I dabbled in Hot Toys, but it started to go up in price, and that basically means I believe 7. I restricted my Hot Toys collection to the core group of the New Hope. I had Luke, Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, C-3PO, and R2-D2. That was it. That was it for my Hot Toys Star Wars, because Star Wars, it's too expensive. It's too freaking expensive. Not expensive, expansive. It's got so much characters in it, so much variations of Darth Vader, that you can lose a lot of money. You can spend a lot of money just on Hot Toys alone, and you're basically ending up with a few figures, high-end collectible figures, high-end collectible toys that you can display in a lot of poses, a lot of possibilities, right? But as you can see, my collection, they're kind of like they're standing still in A formation, and I could display them more like, let's say, like, see, here's my new Batman Keaton thing, where it's more dynamic, his posing and everything. But to be honest, I just don't have the room for it. My collection is more massiveness instead of artistic display quality. I'm rambling on again. I apologize. Anyway, so let's go back to the Black Series. That's what it used to be before. Now, recently, in October of last year, I got into 3.75, and this whole massive collection, if you may not know, it started of October 2024, and is currently March 2025. This line is finished. 3.75. My bug in it is finished. I'm still collecting certain new ones, like the new characters, to kind of fill it out. It's stuff that interests me, but I'm no longer actively pursuing these line and all that stuff. Um, anyway, rambling on again. Here's the thing: as I started to get into a collection craze in Star Wars, my priority is to get the most Star Wars figures, the most 3.75 figures that I can get for the amount of money that I have. And in that pursuit, I went on to eBay, OfferUp, Facebook, and I was patient and I distilled what I wanted from the collection. And what I ended up getting is, I think, over eight, maybe 1,000 figures at this point. I don't really remember. I have it all listed. I kept track of what I purchased for and how much I purchased it. But in the end, and I did pay some of these figures. I did pay full price at $24 and all that stuff. The 3.75. We're talking about 3.75 right now, folks. Thank you so much. I apologize for rambling on. But in the end, the 3.75 collection averaged all these figures that you're seeing right now, they averaged priced at $5.75. Because why? Because in certain eBay lots that I purchased, some figures, when I purchased like maybe 10 figures, they ended up costing me $2 a piece. Some, and most of them ended up costing me like $6, $5, $7. I never paid retail price for all of these. These are all from eBay lots and everything. So these figures, I calculated it and I averaged out at 5.75. That's not bad. So I was basically paying what, 1990s prices for these things. But you have to be patient. You have to know what you're looking for. So now the question is, if you're a collector and you want to collect one to one scale, would a 3.75, that's like tiny, tiny compared to this guy, offer the same value for you as a collector? Because now you can think, should I buy a $1,200 life size figure, or should I get $200 of these guys? Right? What do they compare? What do they offer to me? Or should I get 5 of these 1/6 scale or 70 of these? I said that on average, the Star Wars 3.75 cost me $5.75, right? And I was finished with it. But as I was looking through eBay, looking for this 3.75, obviously, when you're doing searches, it's going to give you all a bunch of stuff. And sometimes Black Series will just creep into your searches. Now, I stopped collecting 1/12 scale because I jumped to 1/18. What you're seeing right now, all that stuff, all those stormtroopers, all those red Sith troopers, Imperial troopers, that's all very recent. That actually came in the last 2 months. My original 1/12 scale Black Series, which I ended supposedly when I started my 3.75, was literally occupying, see this top section over here? Only half of that. So everything else, and you're not probably not seeing, there's actually 2 shelves of there now. One's on top's the Empire, and the other one's just the individual figures. So I only had a quarter of that. Now why did it expand? It expanded because Black Series on retail is $24. As I've been going through my eBay, I started seeing these Black Series pop up, and some of them were like $8. On Walmart, you can get them for like $5 on sale sometimes. If you get lucky, $6, $12. Now, like I said, I started on the Black Series, and it was getting too expensive. So I know Black Series cost over $20. For me to get them at $8, $7 is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount. Of course, I had to get it. So I suddenly went ahead and started going back to Black Series. Because the funny thing is, there are figures that are lacking in my 3.75 that's currently in the Black Series, cheaper, right? Um, what am I talking about? Which figure am I talking about? Let me see. I'm not sure if you guys can see. Can you see the way in the back of that one? Those are the Force Awakens snowtroopers. Those are hard to get on the 3.75. They're actually 5-point articulation. They're not the fully articulated figures that I want, but I had to settle for them because they're the cheapest ones that I can get. I can get them for like maybe $5, $4, $7. But if you, they don't even offer those figures in the fully articulated mode. They never did on 3.75. The 789 movies were poorly represented in the toys. And when they did, they offered them in 5-point articulation. Well, guess what? In the Black Series, right here, I'm not sure if you see it, right there in the very corner behind the red troops. Those are just abundantly cheap. So when I started seeing that, I started thinking, well, let's see what we can do with our money, um, with if I apply the same search parameters, um, and try to see and try to play the game of how much can we get Black Series for cheap. And that's why with the Black Series, my Black Series ended up costing me $8.25 per figure on average. On average. Instead of paying $24, $22, I paid $8.25. That's crazy. So my Black Series is pretty much over as well. What do I mean by over? When I look at my collection, when I look at this wall of Star Wars, I'm like, what else do I want? It's amazing. I mean, like, or when I look at my 4 shelves of Black Series Star Wars, like, wait, why should I be collecting Star Wars Black Series when I already have the 3.75 over there? But I did anyway. It's like it was $8. How can I say no to that? So now that I've talked about how I jumped into Black Series, now let's talk about the 1/6 scale. I already mentioned that originally I was finished with my Hot Toys. Oh my god, why is this like a repeating broken record? Well, of course, if you're doing a search for 3.75 3 Star Wars, and if it makes sense that sometimes Star Wars Black Series would leak into those searches, it also makes sense that when you're doing a search for the Black Series, the 1/6 scale would leak into those searches. So as I was those stupid, now that I realize it, those stupid snow troopers from the Force Awakens, they're at fault, man. So when I started seeing the Black Series snowtroopers selling for 8.75, I started searching for those, and it ended up leading me to a result in this deal in Facebook, and he's local. Here's the snowtrooper over there. It came with a 2-pack, 1/6 scale Hot Toys. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. And I got those for 210 for a 2-pack. So that's 2 figures of a Hot Toys quality. I said, yeah, that's pretty good. I get 2 figures for the price of one because remember, a Hot Toys is usually costing 220. So I went and bought it. Well, it's like, why is Hot Toys so cheap? We're talking about we're talking about almost a 50% price reduction. So I started looking on eBay for Hot Toys and I found these troopers, another 2-pack again, and I bid on them and I won it for 190. It's like, oh shit, what am I? And then when I talked to the guy, when I got the snow troopers, he said, well, I'm thinking of selling some Imperial snow troopers from Force Awakens, which is these two. And I said, well, if you ever decide to sell them, let me know. And he did. Now these ended up being uh, as a 3-pack. Actually, he sold me this one, and this one for 400. So technically, these are 133 each. But in his mind, he sold me this for 150, 150, and that's 100. This is the Sideshow Sand Trooper. And in my mind, I'm still thinking, well, Hot Toys is like 200. That's still pretty good in my price. And I started looking on eBay. It's really hard to find the original Stormtroopers for less than maybe 180 to 200. These ones specifically, I believe you could get it for like 180, maybe 220. Still pricey. So his price is still good enough for me. It's not 50%, but it's good enough for me. Now, why am I talking about 50%? Well, when I started looking for eBay, I said, well, if I can get Hot Toys Stormtroopers, then let's set the parameters. I want to see what the Hot Toys I can get in the price range of around 120. My maximum would be 150. Those would be the figures that I really wanted to get because I was really liking the display factor. So what does that mean? I got this one for $106. I got this one for 125. That one for 115. That one, the guy was asking 125, and I said, "Well, I don't want to pay 125. Let's say 110." And he accepted it as an offer. It's like, "Oh crap! I guess I own a Dark Trooper now." And recently on eBay, there was another one of these. This was not. This is loose. This is loose. This one's not. It's missing the. Oh, it's not this one. Yeah, this one. This one is missing the cannon. He's a cannoneer. I can't remember his name. Um, but recently there's another one of this up on eBay that's boxed, and starting bid was $100, and nobody was bidding on it. So I was like, yeah, as a placeholder, I'll put in a bid of 100, and I won it. So I won another one of this for $100. All right, let me compile my thoughts. It's kind of weird how I jumped around and everything. It's kind of weird that my collection jumped around so vast and so quickly. And this is what we're talking about October 2024. You know how much money I spent on Star Wars? Over 15,000. I wonder how many are still watching this video. I just realized, wait, you just spent 15,000 in less than 5 months? Yes. Yes, I did. um but the thing of it is that honestly, out of all the Star Wars collection, it's a 3.75, the newest one, that fulfills it for me because that's really my main collection of where my Star Wars is. Why? Because of the vehicles, because of the world building possibility. But I'm pretty much full. That's why. I mean, and this at that's the legacy at. I have two of those. I have two of the Imperial shuttle. I have oops, sorry. I have four of those turbo tanks. I have five of those X-wings. I have, oh my gosh, can you guys see that? I have all those Y wings. I have B wings. I have a lot of stuff. The only thing that's missing is dioramas, and I just don't have the space for dioramas. So 3.75 is my main collection of Star Wars. It just so happens that getting Black Series for $8, they're so cheap. It's like, why not? So that added another 2,000 on my budget. And then the Hot Toys, $100 per Hot Toys. Do you know what $100 gets you on other figure lines? Oh, how about this guy? A Mezco. A Mezco is $90 right now. A Mezco. I have another one. How about these guys? This crappy silver Super 7 products that they're trying to sell you for like $55 for these. I know I did not pay $55 for these. I paid like $25 for these. Or how about these? The Mafex. These are like $90. This is a used RoboCop Mafex that I purchased for $80. I believe a Star Wars Darth Vader Mafex is probably going for like $80 to $70, maybe $90. So Trust me, when I said I've collected a lot and I have a variety of collection, I'm I've got a lot. At that time, I wasn't seeing the Hot Toys for $100. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and that's why I ended up buying a bunch of them because they were, as far as I can see, they were good deals. And the value was high compared to the pricing that I'm getting. You guys realize when I do my value to price comparison, and when you look at my reviews, I tell you guys, my value to price comparison is going to be different from yours because I'm not paying full price for this. I'm not paying retail price of a Hot Toys for 220 and getting a value of 10. No, I'm paying Hot Toys for $100 and getting a value of 15 because the price is so low. You know what I mean? Um, why do I say 15? Why would you not buy a Star Wars 1/6 scale Hot Toys for $100? They offer so much. They offer fabric, they offer articulation, they offer great paint application, they offer great sculpture, posability. Hot Toys 1/6 scale is kind of like the pinnacle of your collection. So let me wrap things up here. In the end, it's all about the money, right? If I'm not a rich person, I don't make a lot of money, but I make my money work for me by looking for deals that make sense to me, that increase the value of the figure or the toy for me. So meaning that if I can get it for a lower price, that increases the value for me um, of what I'm getting for the price that I'm paying. If I'm paying $100 for a Hot Toys instead of 200, the value at 2 probably going to be at around 10. The value at 100, that's going to go up to 15. It's crazy. Can you guys comprehend why I'm trying to say this? It's just the price, as the price lowers of an object that you want, the value increases because you still want it, but you're getting it for a lower price. You know what I mean? $100 on a Hot Toys, that's crazy. So make your money work for you, work for your money, look for the deals out there and be patient. And then your collection will suddenly grow. Now, just so happens for me, this time frame, I don't know what's going on. Maybe because of what's going on with the economy, people are offloading their collection. Sometimes people are upgrading their collection, and I just take advantage of that and the deals that are out there, and I buy them because I know the value that's inherent in the pricing that they're putting out. So yeah, so that's basically it. Anyway, that's it for my Toy Talk, my first episode of Toy Talk. Um, if you haven't met me by now, if you haven't seen my videos by now, you know I tend to ramble on. I'll try to distill this in 30 minutes or less. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next Toy Talk. Next Toy Talk is going to deal about world building. Do you notice anything in my lineup of Star Wars? Do you notice those two colorful figures right here? Batman and the Captain, or the US agent, but I call him the Captain because I still think of him as Steve Rogers. Yes. So my Toy Talk video next time, which is probably going to take another few months or so, is now a much larger wall building that I'm trying to collect. I'm trying to expand the 3.75 into the lines that I'm interested in, DC, Marvel, and other stuff. And that's harder to do. Really, really much harder to do. But we'll talk about that later. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.